guys, welcome to today's episode of Sunscreen Saturday or Sunday. I'm not sure what day I'm going to post this on. If you're new here, I like to test sunscreens. I'm looking for something that is cosmetically elegant, looks good under my foundations, feels comfortable, doesn't make my skin itch. That's always a big one for me. Before we get into today's, a little bit of housekeeping that I like to mention at the first of the year, and I don't think I did. Twice a year, I like to go through my sunscreens because I have a lot, and I check my expiration dates. Things that are going to be expiring, I put in the front, and things that have expired, I put in the trash. Always a good idea. Putting sunscreen on your face is the right idea, but if it's expired, you're just kind of wasting your time. Today we're looking at the Cetaphil Sheer Mineral SPF Broad Spectrum 50. This is 80 minutes water resistant, and it's a fluid. So it kind of looks like this. This is not my favorite kind of sunscreen, but I know a lot of people like them, so I'm going to give it a try. Maybe it'll be different than others I have tried in the past. And, you know, as all companies say these days, there's no white cast. Well, there is a white cast, but, you know, I'm sure if I go really heavy, it will disappear. But I'm here to tell you, I would never be this rough with my face. It's still showing a white cast, though. Now, of course, the only way to see if this works with my foundation is to put this on my face and then put on my foundation, and we're going to. But first, we want to talk about sunscreens are dose specific. So think about this. If you've already heard this from me because you watch this regularly, you can skip ahead. But I have a new analogy which I think might help you to understand what I'm talking about when I say dose specific. They're saying that this is SPF 50. But how many times have you seen people go, boop, boop, okay, I got my SPF 50 on? That doesn't seem to really make sense, but you always wondered, well, how much should I put on? Because they never say on the back, they just say apply generously, which could mean anything to everybody. So recently I had something done here. I'm working on getting an implant and I have antibiotics. Think about it. If you got your medication in a container and it said 250 milligrams, whatever it is, but it was all powder, it wasn't in a capsule form, and they hand it to you, your question would be, well, how much do I use to get the right dosage for my medicine? Huge brain fart right there. Same thing here. Nobody asked that question. How much do I need to get 50 SPF? Now, it would be fun, actually. Somebody needs to do this. If they came in little breakaway kind of pre-measured things, like Estee Lauder used to do that with the ceramide thing, and I think it actually came back to the market. And you just kind of twist it off and boop, and there's your dose. You know how much you're supposed to use. Wouldn't it be cool if sunscreens did that? But they don't. You need a 1/4 teaspoon. This is the unrefuted by doctors idea. And there's a mathematical equation, which I'm going to write right here because I don't remember it. And that's about a 1/4 teaspoon. So I like to put this in a 1/4 teaspoon because I know what it looks like. I've been doing it for a long time, but you may not. And that way you can see just how much it is in your hand. There's still a little left in here, but hi. Whew. That's a lot. So here we go. Now, why is it that I don't really like these kinds of sunscreens? In my experience, they feel kind of greasy. It's so weird. When I saw a dermatologist when I was about 40 to get rid of my broken capillaries, and we did some laser for that, and he said to me, you really need to start wearing sunscreen every day. And he suggested La Roche-Posay was a very good line to look into, and I tried almost everything from La Roche-Posay. and I just didn't care for the line. It felt uncomfortable, but they had a fluid, and I thought, well, the fluid will work, but it didn't. It left a really strange feeling on my face. And other fluids that I've tried, the Make Prem I have a review of. By the way, my playlist, I'll link it right here, and I'll link it in the description box below, so you can look at other things that I've reviewed. I've been doing this for about 2 years, but I just don't really like this kind of formula. It was just strange. It just leaves a feeling on my skin that I don't like. And as you can see, it does leave a white cast. I'm going to continue to rub it in a little bit, but I'm not going to be as aggressive as I was on my hand. And you can see on my hand, I think, that it's still white, a little bit. And I just do this because I know there's people who really, they don't want to wear makeup, and they just want to, at least from time to time, just put something on to cover, to protect their skin, and get on with their day, and try to determine if this will be one of those things that you can do that with, or if this really needs a little makeup over it. So, so far, I can always tell by looking into my monitor, this looks quite white. It does. I'm going to give this 10 minutes. For me personally, I'm not going to wait any longer than 10 minutes before I put on my makeup. It's just, my sunscreen has to work for me. I don't work for it. So, you know, from time to time when I'm reviewing certain things, people say, well, you have to put a third on and then wait for 10 minutes, and then put a third on and then wait for 10 minutes. That's not what I'm going to do. I didn't have any smearing issue with this. It's fine with my skincare. It is blended in. It's just a little white. A little gathering right here, so I'll want to press on that. But I'll be back in 10 minutes, and we'll see if the white has dissipated at all, and then we will put on my foundation and see how they work together. So far, it's working fine with my skincare, so there's 1 point. Back in a flash. It's not quite been 10 minutes, but it's still pretty white, and while we're waiting for the full 10 minutes, I thought I'd tell you a little bit more about this. I'm kind of blind, so we're going to do this. It says water resistant 80 minutes, which I already said, won't clog pores, ideal use under makeup. Ultra lightweight formula and dry matte finish. So that's interesting, and it makes me wonder if it's going to be drying, because oftentimes a dry finish is, but maybe not, and that would be nice not to be shiny for a change. This is zinc oxide, 12%. That's a lot. And that's the only sunscreen in here. The first ingredient after that is allantoin, which is really nice for your skin, and a lot of cones, things that end with cone, tocopherol, and looks like glycerin. So nothing that is, you know, going to change your skin in 30 days, and that's okay. Allantoin is really interesting that it's the first thing in there, and they say it's for sensitive skin, formulated for sensitive skin. So that is all good stuff. Now, I always test with my Makeup Forever reboots, just so we have a baseline. And it's always such a pleasure to come back to it because I've been testing so many sunscreens lately. Let's see how these work together. I was outside for just a minute. I actually am the only person in the world who has a place to hang my clothes to dry in the sun, which keeps my leggings and things, I think, alive a lot longer. So I was just getting those off the line. It's an invisible line that people can't really see. So, there's no incompatibility issues so far. It's a little wonky around the nose. I find the nose can be a difficult area because there's so many turns there, but the foundation itself always looks great on me. And I would say that it's not super, super matte. It was interesting. Before I put this on, I noted that my forehead looked a little shiny. Maybe it was because I was outside, but seriously, I was outside for 2 minutes. It is warm today, but still, it's not that warm. Okay, so what do I think? I think this might be something I'm going to have to come back. I'll put it in the description box because I doubt I will come back and let you know if I find this comfortable or if it gives me that kind of slightly greasy feeling that I don't like. On my hands, I'm getting that slightly greasy feeling that I don't like. They say that it's matte and dry, but I don't think it is. And there's a lot of sheen on my head, on my forehead, but it doesn't look like glow or radiance. It kind of looks like sweat. I don't know that I can articulate what the difference is, but you know it and I know it, right? You know when it's like, ooh, a luminous finish, and ooh, it's a sweaty finish. And that's what I feel like I have, a sweaty finish on my forehead. Not so much on the face. I don't feel like everything is set, so I do get that feeling that if I touch my face, my foundation will just move. I don't know what it is, but it doesn't look as good as it normally does. I can't put my finger on it. I'm going to do my eyes. I'll come back and we'll just do a couple of products and see how they work together. Back in a flash. It doesn't quite look like it normally does with this foundation. I'm not seeing weird stuff. I'm not seeing it breaking up, but it doesn't look as good as it usually does. And it is definitely, it doesn't have that dry look that they're talking about. Now with zinc, I can oftentimes feel this itchiness, and sometimes it starts when I put on the sunscreen. Sometimes it starts when I put on powder. I do feel like I need some powder. So I'm going in with my Wayne Goss brush and my By Terry powder, which is one of my favorite powders, and there's no color to it. So I like the fact that it's not going to change the way the foundation looks. It's also not incredibly mattifying, but I'm giving this a double test. How does it work with the powder? There's no skipping or anything. It looks really poreless, but you know, this powder does kind of do that. And I want to see what the brush looks like, to see if any of the product kind of came off on the brush and makes the brush look wet, because I do have that kind of slightly weird feeling that I don't like, and it doesn't. So the brush is fine, interesting, and I'm not getting any itching yet. I'm going to go in with the Pat McGrath Flirtatious on the cheeks and see how powder works. There's no pulling at all. It does give you that feeling that it's going to slide off my face, but there's no evidence that it will slide off my face. But I don't know, there's something about it I'm not a huge fan of. You know what, you guys, I think that's going to wrap this up. So what do I think? I think it went on fine with my skincare, went on fine with my foundation. It's just that it doesn't look quite the same. But there was no balling or pilling or weird stuff happening on my face. So that's a good thing. The look doesn't seem right somehow. I don't like the way it feels, especially like right here. It has that weird, greasy kind of feeling that I find these kinds of formulas do for me. If you don't have that problem, if you actually like formulas like this, you're really, really going to like this. It does leave a white cast if you use the proper amount, but as you can see, you know, it's pretty much covered. I don't see this white undertone coming through, and the Makeup Forever is not full coverage. If you're very, very fair, it might be okay wearing without makeup. Maybe. Water resistant, that's a good thing. For sensitive skin, that's a good thing. It isn't itching after I put on the powder, that's a good thing. So really it checks a lot of boxes, but for me personally, the two things I don't like is, I don't like the way it feels, and I feel like my skin, the shine's coming back. It's not matte, and it doesn't look radiant. It looks a little more greasy than radiant, and it feels a little greasy, especially right around this area. And that's going to wrap up today's video. The Cetaphil Sheer Mineral Face Liquid Sunscreen SPF 50, zinc oxide only, and allantoin is the first ingredient after the active ingredient, which is really interesting. And that's going to wrap up today's video, you guys. I want to thank you so much for spending some time with me. I really hope it was helpful. I hope that I'm helping you to find your perfect sunscreen, or build a wardrobe of sunscreen so you can stay protected from the sun. Your best weapon against anti-aging. And hope you come back again. Until we meet again, be safe and smart, and I'm wishing you good health.